We are back on MorningLine, our final segment with Professor Thomas Schwartz from over at Vanderbilt. Always a good conversation with him, just kind of throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. The number is 737-7587. Presidential politics. All right, 22 Democrats running for president as we sit right now. We've just learned that Joe Biden will be coming to town. Even though this, Nashville is more Democrat as a city itself, but as a whole, Tennessee is obviously Republican. But he's coming on May 20th, likely for fundraising, right? You were saying for Democrats in Nashville, I mean, it can be a fundraiser.
President Obama found it very helpful to come here to do fundraising dinners. There's a fair amount of money here that will go to the Democratic candidates, even if the state won't.
Yeah, and you would think almost certainly we'll see the president again, wouldn't you think?
Absolutely.
I mean, I still remember the rally, the first one he threw not long after he was elected,
right.
Over here at Municipal Auditorium. The line outside the door was incredible of people that came. And of course, that's right after all the excitement of the election. Right. So a huge turnout on that. So Biden getting into the mix now. He's 4 years older than President Trump.
Yes.
So we have older gentlemen in the presidential. I know there's many younger ones among the 22 Democrats.
Right.
But what's your take with him? He clearly has the name recognition because of his past and his age. But I don't know that alone certainly makes him a front runner. He may be at this point because it's the only name many people recognize. But those other names, they'll start separating themselves.
They will. The first debate is next month, if you can believe it.
Is that right?
Yes, in June.
How are they going to do this with 22 candidates?
They're going to do 2 evenings. They're going to do it by lot.
Like 11 and 11 or
yes,
whatever. And who knows, between now and then there may be a few more names.
You have to qualify, and you have to either have 65,000 individual donors or a rating of 1% in sufficient number of polls.
Okay.
So they've got some qualifications, but it looks like almost 17 or 18 of the 20 have already qualified, and the others might by then. So it's going to be a long. It'll be more of a conversation, I think, than anything else. But you will see then individual candidates trying to stand out in the field by making, trying to use their moment in the sun.
Yeah, it's always fascinating to me, and it was last time around with President Trump, and this time when there's a field this big, what it is that starts separating. And you look at those 22 and you wonder who's going to be the one that, for whatever quirk, and a lot of it is luck, separates and then catches hold. And usually there's one that catches hold early and wow, they're looking, and then they fade. And it's whatever comes up at the end, obviously. Do you think the president has in his mind a preference one way or the other? Does he not give a hoot who it is that runs against him? Is there some that maybe would concern him more than others?
I think, to the extent you can read his mind, I do think he's worried about Biden. Biden would have appeal to a lot of moderates, to some of the people in the president's base. I think he might think that Bernie Sanders would be easier because Bernie's older even than Biden, Bernie is a socialist. And Donald Trump can make the case that this is really out of the American mainstream, that even though Bernie has, in some ways, this appeal as a real authentic politician, someone who's been very consistent over his career, that socialism is still too far for most Americans, even if they don't like Donald Trump.
Yeah, it's interesting because Bernie, I guess, has raised a ton of money.
He has
$18 million.
A huge donor base who will, sort of come in.
Okay, and money makes, and that's what I'm kind of curious about too. With 22 candidates running, the money, I guess, gets divvied up, perhaps, right at this point. I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying that because of that, if they're Democrats and you're going to go with who, does that make it difficult for them to fundraise?
Well, many of them have been very successful. There's the internet offers the opportunity to get small contributions, get your message out. It doesn't seem like the fundraising thing has been as what really people are measuring is how much each candidate gets when they come out of the box. And so Biden did do very well when he came out, and that was an important thing to show that he had that strength. But Bernie, of course, had numerous small donors, and that still seems to be something that's going to make him a very serious candidate.
Yeah, he was in it for a while. What do you think it was? It did genuinely seem, since he came in a little later to the game compared to the others, that he was wrestling with whether to run or not. Or unless you believe that Biden all along was going to, and or was there something that maybe swayed him?
I think he was pretty much all along going to do it. I do think he may have wanted others to come in, sort of to maybe also to highlight the fact that he is very different from the others. The fact that many of the others have come in and embraced more extreme political ideas, so Biden can come in and present himself as a more moderate alternative to them. Maybe that's part of it, but I think he was always going to run.
And I do wonder where the Democratic Party is going to go then.
Right.
What maybe the leadership within the party thinks they're going to go with, I suppose, if they can, and the voter will have something to do with this, who has the best chance to beat the president. Is that going to be someone who's going to have more similarities, or is it going to be someone that has a huge contrast? I don't know.
Well, I think, electability has always been an issue, but I do think, in the primaries, there'll be a certain element of who people feel passionate about, who will actually turn out. Mm-hmm. Voter turnout will be very important. The African-American vote will be very important, and whether Biden, who right now looks like he's going to get most of it, can hold on against people like Cory Booker or Kamala Harris, who might also have a natural appeal to that bloc. So it's going to be I think it could be a long primary season because of the way the rules are set up these days.
What was voter turnout like in the last presidential election?
Voter turnout was very high in the overall presidential election. It was, I want to say, in the close to 60% range.
What was the range for President Obama's last?
You mean in 2012?
Yeah.
2012, Obama seemed to turn out more Democrats. I mean, the difference has been turning out your base.
Yeah.
And Romney was not as able to turn out as many Republicans as Trump was.
Okay, so that's what it, because turnout is huge, right?
Yes.
And the voting bloc, be it the white, African American, Hispanic vote. Mm-hmm. Is it safe to say that more Hispanics and African Americans are Democrat?
Yes, by most polling, yes. At least they identify blacks overwhelmingly, Hispanics less so, but yes.
If they were to turn out in full force,
right,
along with the whites, there would be no way the Democrats could lose.
Yes and no. Part of it is the distribution of the population. The Electoral College is still there.
Right.
So Trump or a Democratic candidate can pile up huge advantages in California and New York and still lose because the rest of the country or the way it's distributed. In fact, I was reading at one point that if you take California out of the 2016 election, Donald Trump actually wins the popular vote. That you can get lots of votes in states that are already pretty much set.
Yeah, and this president is president because of the Electoral College.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the system they've had, and there's been arguments whether to keep it or not well before the president was elected, but is it still time, and that's a whole different show, to move on from the Electoral College and just go with the overall vote?
No, it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. I don't think it is. I know, probably not. Right. Let's go to, was it Reese, did you say? Good morning, Reese.
Oh, it's me.
Hi, Reese. How are you, Reese?
I'm just fine. How about yourself?
Good. What's on your mind, ma'am?
You know what? I sit and watch this politician all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like this. I'm trying to figure out, instead of everybody, Donald Trump, if Donald Trump ain't got nothing to hide, why come he just don't give them folks what they need and let them go on about their business?
Are you talking about his?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
What I'm saying is if Donald Trump ain't hiding nothing, why come he don't give them people his tax return and give them the whole Mueller report? See, that's what make people look at too. It make people look back like, what is he hiding? Because if he ain't hiding nothing, he'll put it out there. Don't that kind of make a little sense?
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense in general. In my life, in general, as I deal with other individuals, when there's something someone wants to keep me from seeing, I usually suspect it's because there's something they don't want me to know. That's not always fair, and it's not always accurate, but I think that's a fair question, Look, if the Mueller report is so clearing for you, aside from whatever national security or grand jury testimony, and a lot of times politicians, going back years, claim national security when it's flat out bull. They just don't want you to know it. So I think that's fair what she says.
Yeah, I think fairer. I think the
Transparency is always
tax,
better.
the tax returns is probably fairer than the Mueller report. The redactions would probably have to be gone through a little bit. The grand jury issue is there. So.
I guess, but people, it's on its surface, and the average Joe like you and me see this, and well, the grand jury stuff. Well, grand jury stuff, just so you know, they're the ones who lead to indictments, and they're the ones that are supposed to be done in secret. You're not supposed to know. Well, big deal. I'm saying, all right, yeah. What needs to be redacted? You're protecting the innocent, maybe, or whatever. You go in there and you block out the names, but you don't have to block out the substance. I'm just sorry. I don't buy it. And I'm sure there's some lawyer out there saying, Nick, you don't know what you're talking about. I've seen grand jury reports. There's more in there sometimes that has to. Well, I know. Maybe a name of a business or some allegation, but if you just block out the names, no one's hurt. If you block, and I don't think blocking out the names is a big deal. But there's a lot more being blocked out than that. And I have a problem with that. Something's being covered there.
Yeah. No, I think that that'll be the substance.
Well, what stuns me, I got to be honest with you, and it just shows in a world of leaks, in a world of sources, that no one has sent an unredacted copy to the media somehow. Are you telling me no one that had access to that piece by itself, unredacted, has gotten hold of that and sent it out somewhere?
I know.
I'm stunned by that. I'm stunned that no one in Congress or something like that, that if one was sent here to our station or one to the New York Times and it was legitimate, it was unredacted, this is the real thing, that hasn't come out. Yeah. How is that?
Well, Mueller's group or his group was very leak-proof during the time that he was there. They really did run a tight ship.
So I can't believe there's one or two members of that.
Yeah.
That hasn't decided, again, you don't want to do it because, I wouldn't do it because it's political. Whether it completely clears the president or shows some things that are damning in there, right. I think it's a good idea to release it and be transparent. Always transparency, in my opinion, almost 100% of the time is the right thing to do. And you're a transparent guy. Thank you for coming on, sir.
Thank you.
Have a good one. We'll see you again soon. I'll be back with a programming note right after this.